Okay, we want to say welcome to every one of you today. I am Jethro Emmanuel Poulet, and today the Council of Patriots will be telling us today the state of the nation and giving solution to certain problem. And to deliver such message, the most powerful Secretary General of the Council of Patriots, Honorable Mwawake Yoko, will be addressing us as to what action the Council of Patriots will be taking very soon. And today we want to say the press, you are most welcome. Listening audience, we say you are most welcome. Council of Patriots members, we say you are most welcome. Kindly listen as the SG of the Council of Patriots be able to give us a press statement today. Okay. You are most welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Poulet.
From Western Washington. This is KMTV. We are broadcasting to you
listeners by the chairman of the Council of Patriots.
My name is Makere Gamoli
is also in the press conference. Chairman Costa, could you confirm that, please?
Here.
Yes, Mr. Secretary General, thank you very much, and thanks to all of our people there. I'm sitting here listening and watching. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, fellow Liberians, it is exactly 16 months since the famous and popular June 7, 2019 peaceful protest, which brought together Liberians from all walks of life in their thousands onto the streets of Monrovia to raise their voice in singularity against the massive corruption, abuse of human rights, and total disregard for the rule of law by the George Weah administration. Sadly today, the very conditions that gave rise to that historic protest and the follow-up one of January 6, 2020 are still visible and happening on a much greater and alarming scale. Fellow Liberians, we are reminded by Theodore Roosevelt that the sacred duty of a patriot is to stand by his government only when it is right, but to always stand by his country. The time has come for us to once again stand up for ourselves and our beloved country. We are afraid that Liberia is on a dangerous path, a path very similar to the one that plunged us into the bloody civil war. The unabated divisiveness, the rampant corruption, the increasing wave of violence on peaceful Liberian citizens by well-funded CDC talks and state security actors paid with our tax dollars cannot continue. Enough is enough. We can no longer sit back and allow this madness to continue unchecked. Our Constitution, under Article 17, clearly guarantees us the right to peaceably assemble in order to draw the movements and the government's attention to our disenchantment, our frustration, agony, pain, and suffering at the very hands of a government that's so an oath to protect us all. Today, we live in a CDC Liberia and not the Republic of Liberia. We do not feel safe and free in our own country, only because we refuse to accept the unending transgressions and malpractices of this dictatorial-led kleptocracy. Enough is enough. Fellow Liberians, we, your brothers and sisters, at the helm of Liberia's foremost pressure group, the Redemptive Council of Patriots, are hereby calling on you and invoking your sense of patriotism to rally together to make yet another historic stand. There is no other way. The courts have let us down. The legislature has flagrantly declared a solemn duty to checkmate the excesses of this administration. Therefore, our fellow compatriots, the task force to us to do for ourselves what they have failed to do for us. We, the people, are our own final line of defense. Enough is enough. The Council of Patriots has resolved and is hereby calling a nationwide, non-stop, peaceful protest beginning Monday, November 16, 2020, and will continue until our burning concerns are addressed by the WIA administration. So, the following reasons that inspire our firm decision to do this protest are listed below. The unresolved $25 million mop-up scandal, the government's failure to pay healthcare workers and address their grave concerns, the fraudulent just-ended voter roll update exercise and its implication on the pending senatorial elections, the wave of violence against peaceful citizens by CDC thugs and state security actors, the worsening economic crisis in the country and its accompanying hardship on the lives of Liberians with no mitigating efforts by the government, the unexplained failure of the much-heralded COVID-19 stimulus package, which I like to refer to for the purposes of this press conference, the criminal package, for which $50 million was borrowed from the IMF, the consistent abuse of our Constitution and disregard for the rule of law, the violation and abuse of our national budget law led by Finance Minister Samuel D. Tuet, the increase by up to 100% or more in the cost of voice call and data services, thereby reducing access to these services by a vast majority of Liberians. And then finally, the recent grave, disturbing scandal of government officials selling our passports and conferring upon anyone who can afford to pay our prestigious diplomatic portfolios on an industrial scale. The Council of Patriots is also realizing the vital role of our international partners. To this end, we are sending out communications to the chairman of ECOWAS, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo of Ghana, the African Union Mission in Liberia, the United States Embassy in Monrovia, and the European Union delegation in Liberia, officially notifying them of our decision to stage our mass citizen action. We will also officially write to the Minister of Justice, Councillor Frank Musabdin, requesting that it is consistent with law, security protection for our peaceful citizens who will be coming out at several locations across the country beginning November 16, 2020. God bless Liberia and save the state. I thank you.
Thank you very much to our SG for that powerful statement. And then we will now go to you journalists for questions, unlimited questions. And then thereafter, we will have the voice of our chairman, Honorable Henry Pedro Costa.
Jethro, before the journalists come in, I'd like the chairman to give a supporting statement from the National Security Committee and the National Advisory Council, Chairman Costa.
So we right now turn to our chairman.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary General Mabake Yongwa, for a splendid job. Thanks to all of our youth wing officials and members of the COP who are present. I want to thank members of the Fourth Estate. Thanks to all Liberians listening by way of radio or via the internet.
Chairman, before you continue, I'd like to announce the presence of Senator Abraham Dawes-Dillon, Chairman of the Advisory Council.
Good, fantastic. We're very glad to have Senator Dillon in the House. Fellow Liberians, you've heard what the Secretary General has read. It was a statement, it's a position that reflects the sentiments, the feelings, sentiments of agony, frustration, disappointment by the Liberian people and who are members of the Council of Patriots. All that I have to say as chairman is that the statement just read by the Secretary General is by the national Liberia's foremost pressure group, the Council of Patriots, of which I have the pleasure and honor to serve as its chairman. That is the will and the mandate of the people. And I call on all of you from all walks of life, beginning November 16, 2020, we will come out in the tens of thousands to show that all power is inherent in the people. Thank you very much. God bless you all, and let's together join hands to save the state.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So before the line of questioning, we'll have the chairman of the National Advisory Council to also give an endorsement statement to the position of the Council of Patriots. Senator Abrams Downs.
Thank you. Everything that was said by the Secretary General of COP, authored by the chairman, our chairman, Harry P. Costa, Senator Darius Dillon, in my capacity as chairman of the Advisory Council of COP, we approve, endorse, and we fully are part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Jethro.
Thank you very much, Senator. I think you just heard the endorsement, so we now will take your questions. So we take James from Spoon TV.
Good afternoon. My name is James from Spoon TV. Honorable Secretary, I heard you talking about a protest, that you're going to begin a protest on the 16th. Let's establish, you have the power, that is the capacity to carry on a protest nationwide. We saw what happened on June 7th, and you did not even spend a day. You had to leave. And again, let's look at the implication of this protest. What do you hope to achieve? And are you looking at the country? Coronavirus is in town. We have health protocols being put in place that we should not gather. Are you looking at the security implication in your action?
Thank you, Mr. Gude. Gude Fumo, right? Good. What I can tell you is wait and see. Wait and see. The voice of the people is the voice of God. Voice populi, voice Dei. Wait and see what happens beginning November 16, 2020. That's all I can say for that.
Thank you very much. Yeah. The next person.
My name is Emmanuel Davis, and I do report for Fortune Television. My question goes to the Senator. Senator, you are a government official. Don't you look at it prudent enough to go to a round table and discuss some of these issues with your colleagues at the legislature instead of going to the streets to protest?
Look, let me be clear here. Only in Liberia where those things where member of government or the legislature looks like a strange thing from joining the people. I'm a member of the government, elected member of the government. In America, lawmakers do join the people to protest where the system, where the very government refuses to listen to the people and refuses to fix the system for the people. And so, yes, you follow our record at the Liberia Senate. For instance, the increase of the surcharge during this period, does it make sense? Have you not heard us speak to it? Were you not around when we went into fury on the way the Liberian legislature, with particular reference to the Liberian Senate, the way we passed a budget, recount budget with no scrutiny, and everything that we said, predicted, is coming back to haunt us? Did you follow the Senate hear me yesterday? Have you not followed us in the Liberian Senate talking about crimes and violence, citing public officials from the executive, from the security sector, to come tell us why there's increase in crime and violence in this country, rape and all this stuff? Have you not followed what has been the role or the decision of the legislature? Of course, when the people who implore us with their vote are not pleased with the environment, and we who should create the environment for them, in majority, are failing to do so, will continue to join the people. And trust me, November 16, let we date June 7, let we date January 6, July 16. When you tell people to come out to protest, you should be one of the first person out there to inspire them to come out. We will be there.
Thank you very much. Honorable Senator, where we take you.
Thank you very much. My name is Elijah D.S. Pine, and I report for Brain Coast TV. Recently, Senator, you were at the Liberty Party headquarters where you talked about the state security that being partisan security. And you were talking about coming on with the protest. Do you going to provide your own security?
Chapter 1, Article 1, the first chapter in the Constitution, the first article. All power is inherent in the people. So, governments are instituted for their happiness, for their well-being. And whenever their safety, their benefit, happiness, so-called into question, they can act in keeping with the law. And we act.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There's a lady who wanted before come to you. Yeah, let's take you there.
Please give her room to come through. Please give her room.
You drop your shoes, I think so.
Okay. So I have 2 questions, but the first one goes to Senator Darius. My name is Angel Morrison. I report for Sean from 98.3. Well, the first question goes to Senator Darius Belon. I was at the June 7th protest wherein I provided coverage and I saw the entire momentum. One may say you always want to use protests to gain political population, and in as much as the December 8th much publicized senatorial election is coming. Firstly, how can you react to this? Are you trying to use the Liberian people again to gain population for them to vote for you for December 8th?
George Weah became president because CDC and generally the Liberian board decided that early Johnson study government failed, so they voted George Weah as voters. If the Liberian board believe that protests against bad governance is their way of expressing their displeasure, so be it.
And this leads me to my second question. As my record can suggest, the Council of Patriots has organized several protests, including the most publicized June 7th protest. And then the government of Liberia did not pay any heed to it. All of your recommendations were trashed, and then we didn't see no achievement. Do you think the government of George Weah is actually going to devote to this particular protest?
Look, can I take that, Senator? Thank you very much. Inja, right? From
Yeah,
Strong
sure.
Evidence. It's good to meet you. So this protest, unlike other protests, is going to be sustained. It's going to be surgical. It's going to be precise. It's going to be all around the country, right? Unlike the June 7th and January 6th protests, where there was a single convergence, there's going to be at multiple locations, right? This is going to draw on from the vast generality of Liberians. So we're going to have protests in Maikidi, Kakata. We're going to have protests in Buchanan. We're going to have protests in Cape Mount, right, in Robertsport. We're going to have protests in Tottenham. We're going to have protests in Banga, in Kanta. So this protest is going to be something so huge. The scale is going to be so alarming that the government will yield to these legitimate concerns by the Liberian people. These concerns are legitimate. Now, I need someone to tell me how, unrealistic these concerns are. And I would like the line of questioning to be drawn from the bullet points that we've listed as reasons for this protest. That would make a more germane interaction between the press and the Council of Patriots. We've listed at least 10 reasons why we're protesting. I need questions from these reasons. I understand the senator is here, you want to ask him questions about his re-election and everything else, December 8th. It's important. But we're giving you reasons why we want to come out. Tell us why we think these are genuine reasons to come out.
Okay, thank you very much, SD. Going forward, we will take...
And while I'm at that, I'd rather give you this now, so that in their bullet pointer, so you don't have to read through, bullet pointer.
So exactly you can be able to see through it. And
it's easier to get read through.
Okay, we can do it quietly. Press on it. Press on it. Okay.
Bullet pointer,
So we will want you to ask your question from our press statement, and then it can be directed to other one.
Anybody can answer at that point.
We just want it to be from there.
Anybody can answer at that point.
So we take our brother.
Reasons, the racial dissident.
The COP cannot limit us when it comes to your doings. That is, you cannot tell us the question we should ask.
I like the
The press has the right to, excuse me,
Yes.
the press has the right to ask questions. We can determine to
Yes,
answer.
Okay.
So instead of going back and forth,
we take him, yeah.
we
We
tell
take
you
him,
what
yeah.
we can adequately speak to.
Yeah. We take him.
Okay, so thank you. My name is Peter Boniga. I'm a broadcast journalist. among too many reasons why you're going to be protesting coming November. You talked about the recent, increase in data communications. It takes effect now. The people are feeling the pain. I'm looking at the timeliness of your protest. Why don't you protest now in November?
The thing is, when you plan a protest, you create room for conversations around your talking points. We're not saying that we can't meet the government and discuss these issues. Look, if the government addresses this issue, we will not come out. There will be no reason to protest. Protest is a direct reflection of the government action and or inaction. So if the government addresses this issue, there will be no need for protest, right? So the issue of the increase in surcharge on data and voice, it just happens so, right? But this particular press conference and the reasons for our protest, they were already arranged. This one just came up today. The more you talk about these, like when things that think that it will not come into effect, but this one actually came as a shock to people this morning, to myself. But I'd like to go further and tell you the implication of the increase in voice and data charges. You see, if you're selling 100 pieces of bananas to 100 persons at the cost of $5, that's $500, right? If you sold 50 pieces of bananas to 50 persons at $10, that's how much? $500. So the company is not going to lose. What you're doing essentially, you're taking a lot of people from the queue. So what this is doing is reducing access to communication from the vast majority of Liberians who happen to be impoverished. So a government should be very sensitive to include all of its citizens. But this government has orchestrated this plan so as to remove a lot of people right to communicate freely. So this argument is not about raising money for government. No. It's about silencing people.